Hi everybody, welcome back to Math Maintenance. Today we are going to talk about different ways that we represent numbers with pictures and with words and in expanded mathematical expressions. And so here we go. There are 4 different ways that we're going to look at expressing numbers today. One of them is called digit. And so when we say digit, it's the number that we would normally see. So this digit is a 6 in the hundred spot, a 2 in the tens, and a 2 in the ones. We would say 622. The second way that we can express numbers is through the words. And so sometimes in word problems or when we say the words out loud, we don't say 622. We put additional words in there to explain what it is that we mean. So we can use the word to describe the number. Expanded form is when we really show what's going on in each place value of the number. So we break the number into chunks to show what each individual place value is doing within that number. And then blocks you may have used in school are those singles and then the tens where they make the long stick. And then if you put 10 sticks together, you make 100 flat. And so we can represent numbers using those blocks, those little cubes, the sticks, and then the flats. What we're going to do today is to take a look at some numbers and work from each of the columns and then show how we can use what we have to fill in the other columns. Let's start with if we're given a digit. If we're given a digit, we can move to the word column by thinking, how would we say this number out loud? When we say numbers out loud, we normally say the place value kind of along the way. So we would say 600, because there's a 6 in the hundreds spot. This 2 in the middle is actually representing 20. So we would say 620. And then there's also a 2 in the one spot. So we would say 22. When we move across to expanded form, we're going to write out what each of those numbers is representing. So the 6 here isn't representing 6. Since the 6 is in the hundred spot, it's actually representing 600. The 2 in the middle here isn't representing 2 because the 2 is in the 10 spot. So it's really representing 20. And the 2 on the end is in the 1 spot, so it is just representing 2. To represent that in blocks, remember each of your hundreds is one of those flats. So I'm going to draw that as a big square. Each of your tens is one of those long, skinny guys. That first one was extra skinny. And each of your ones is just one of those little cubes. What if we start, instead of with a digit, if we start in the row that has the number written out? Well, we could work backwards by kind of reading this number and thinking about the place values and what it's telling us to fill in. 300 means there's a 3 in the hundred spot. 20 means there's a 2 in the 10 spot. And 2 tells us there's a 2 in the 1 spot. When we go to expanded form, the 3 in the hundred spot means we have 300. The 2 in the 10 spot means we have 20. And the 2 in the 1 spot means I have 2 more out on the end by themselves. As I go into blocks, 300 means I have 3 flats. 20 means I have 2 sticks, and 2 is just going to be those 2 little blocks. If I start with a number that's already expanded, I can simply add those pieces together to get what my digits would look like. So 200 plus 60 plus 4 would get me to 264. When I write out the words for that, I'm going to start with the hundreds and write 200 because that's what's in the hundred spot. A 6 in the 10, we don't say 6 tens, we're going to say 60. and the 4 in the 1 spot makes 64. Moving across to my blocks, 200 is going to look like 2 flats. 60 is going to be 6 sticks. And 4 is 4 little cubes. Last row practice for today. This one I'm starting with a picture of what it's going to look like, so I'm going to have to add these up. I'm going to work backwards this way first and show the expanded form that's being shown here. So if I add 100, 200, 300, 400, 500s, 10, 20, 30 for 10s, and 1, 2, 3, 4 for 1s. I can add those together. 500 plus 30 plus 4 gives me 534. And now if I write that in words, I have 500 the 3 and the 10s, we don't write 3, we write as 30. And we have a 4 in the 1 spot. On your sheet today, or in your packet, you're going to do exactly what I just demonstrated on the board. So you have a sheet that looks like this. In each row, there's at least one column filled in. The first row is an example of what you're going to do, just like I just did on the board. And you're going to work to fill in the other boxes in that row with the different ways to represent that number. For your virtual or your digital practice today, there's a website for you to practice things being greater than or less than, which will lead into our lesson for tomorrow. So you're going to get a little head start on practicing numbers being greater than, less than, or equal to by dragging a symbol into the question mark spot. For your manipulative practice, I want you to take some of your big number cards today and practice writing them out in one of these other forms. So whichever form might seem trickiest to you or is the one that you feel like you might need a little bit of practice with, pull out one of those big number cards and then think, okay, how would that sound in words? Can I read that number out loud? What would that look like in expanded form? And so use those big number cards to do a couple more practices of whatever column you think you need the most practice on. Good luck working with different ways to represent numbers.